Hey everybody, this is Mike Guglielmi, co-host of Sons of a Pitch Soccer Podcast. We're here tonight. We are expanding our content. It is time. Nick and I were talking about it last night when we were recording our episode, and it's time to start growing this podcast, grow the content. Our listeners are yearning for more. We have seen exponential growth over the past few months, in the last year and 3 months that we've been doing this. So here we are tonight. Thanks for joining us on YouTube or through Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, however you reached us here to watch me talk to myself on this camera. We've got a few games to talk about. We've got some midweek action. We've got the Canadian Championship semifinals first leg between Toronto FC visiting Ottawa Fury, as well as Montreal Impact hosting Cavalry FC. As well, we have the U.S. Open Cup semifinal matchup between Minnesota United FC hosting Portland Timbers at Alliance Field to find out who plays Atlanta United in the final, the U.S. Open Cup final, at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So, let's talk a little bit about these games. Thanks for joining us. If you want to join the conversation, add to the growing list of people that are talking to us, bringing us lots of content to the point where we've had to add more content like this to our pod and or video, however you want to break it down, because people are talking to us. We're getting lots of feedback. We're getting lots of questions. We're talking about transfers. What do you want to hear on our podcast? We're still going to bring you the podcast. We are still going to bring that Tuesday night recording between Nick and I, just going back and forth with our crazy banner and, keeping you guys interested through the pod, but we wanted to expand through this YouTube. So let's jump right in. You can hit us up at SOP Soccer on Twitter, on Instagram, at Sons of a Pitch Soccer on Facebook. Hit us up on our website, www.sonsofapitchsoccer.com. Email us if you want to get a hold of us, podcast at sonsofapitchsoccer.com. But let's get right into this. So the first game of the night was Toronto FC. Yes, that Toronto FC. Of course, I'm a little biased. I am a huge TFC fan, have been since day one, since day -30. Before this team even had a name, I was there following along and was at their first training camp. This game, what a game. For a TFC fan, you go into Ottawa, you get a couple away goals. Bringing it back to BMO Field, you can rest the starters. Life is good. TFC wins this one 2-0 over Ottawa. Really didn't have much going on from an Ottawa Fury standpoint. Look, TFC comes out, Drew Moore, scissor kick goal off a corner kick, and gets the scoring underway in the first half. Second half, Ottawa started to bring a little bit more pressure, got a few more moves, few more chances, but nothing crazy, nothing that really was going to break the back other than a few crazy plays by Eric Zavaleta. And I just want to thank some of our Twitter followers, Dynasty, Don Dada, Ryan Anderson, JJ, Glenn Boys. Thanks for jumping into the conversation with some of the tweets that we've had through the night tonight and getting in on that conversation. But really, it was all TFC in this game. Erickson Gallardo makes his debut. The starting lineup was strong for going into a USL side, but I really wanted to see a few more Canadians. Yes, we saw them through the substitutes, right? So you've got Jacob Schaffelberg coming in at halftime. You got Jonathan Osorio coming in. So he did bring in a few more Canadians, but I wanted to see a few more in the starting lineup. Now, with that being said, they got the job done. They did what it took. Tsubasa Endo with a goal in stoppage time in the second half to put TFC up in what I would think is an insurmountable 2-0 lead over a USL side going back to BMO Field next Wednesday. Coach Vanny, you made me a little bit nervous with Zavaleta there at the back. He made a few plays that were a little questionable. He had a great tackle when it was 1-0, because if he did not make that tackle, if he screwed that one up and gave Ottawa a penalty, and probably would have went down to 10 men because he would have gotten a red card and got sent off. If he was just a little bit late on that one, I threw a tweet out there to say, hey, you're making me a little bit nervous and a lot of other TFC fans nervous. Get the nephew out of there. But overall, great victory for Toronto FC. Yes, we are repping. We are going to the semifinal second leg at BMO Field. We can rest our starters. We can take it easy. We got 2 away goals in the bank. And we'll see what happens. But I'm pretty sure TFC can pull this one out. Now, as far as the other semifinal in the Canadian Championship, we've got Montreal Impact hosting Cavalry FC, the CPL side. This one, I gotta say, fans and listeners and viewers now that we're on YouTube, thanks for nothing won soccer. I couldn't watch the replay. I watched the TFC game. I'm a diehard TFC fan. They were both going on at the same time, which one was a scheduling snafu for Canadian soccer. Come on, if you're going to have two teams, two semifinal matchups in the same day, stagger them, right? One at 6, one at 8, one at 7, one at 9, something. Give me something. I understand they're both in the East Coast, Ottawa and Montreal. I understand that, but you've got to figure something out because I couldn't watch the replay. I watched the TFC game, and I could not find a replay on the One Soccer app whatsoever. So here we are. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the result, the highlights that I saw, the statistics that I read. This one, Montreal gets the job done. They win this one 2-1 over Cavalry. Who else but the Nacho Man, Ignacio Piatti, scores both goals, 2 of them for Montreal. A beautiful shot into the top corner on the first goal on a turnover, a horrible turnover by Cavalry. This is supposedly one of the best teams in CPL. They took care of Vancouver, which really isn't saying much because Vancouver's been struggling this year. And man, Nacho Piatti with a beautiful play, runs in on goal, shoots it into the top corner. There you go. Nacho Piatti, 4 minutes after halftime, ends up getting the lead to 2-0 for Montreal. They're rolling, right? They've got this. It's done and dusted. They're up 2-0. They're going for more. And Cavalry comes through. Sergio Camargo, former TFC player, comes through and scores for Cavalry FC to bring this one to 2-1 with an away goal, heading back to Calgary, Foothills County Stadium next Wednesday. We've got a matchup here. We might not have a matchup in that first semifinal with Toronto FC and Ottawa, but we've got one with Montreal. It should be interesting to watch. Maybe we'll do a little recap on that one next week, next midweek. So enough about the Canadian Championship. Let's jump right in to the U.S. Open Cup. Here we go. Semifinal number 2. This is for who is going to visit Mercedes-Benz Stadium and take on Atlanta United, reigning 2018 MLS Cup champions, in the U.S. Open Cup final for 2019. Minnesota United hosting Portland Timbers. Portland, a team who is very well versed at going on the road, getting the big result. They knocked out LAFC at the bank earlier in the tournament. They've gone on the road before. They took out Seattle Sounders last year to give them the berth to play at Mercedes-Benz Stadium against Atlanta United in MLS Cup Final 2018. This is the team that you expect to get that done. I thought Portland would get it done. I'm a huge pusher of the Loons. I like the Loons. I want to see them do well. But I really thought that Portland was going to take this one over. I was wrong. Started out, Darwin Quintero gets a penalty kick early on in the game, converts it with not really a great penalty. It was up high, so if the goalie did dive the right way, probably wouldn't have gotten it because it was up high. Could have stuck the paw out and might have got it, but chances are he wouldn't have. Darwin Quintero slots it home, 1-0 on a handball. I didn't see it. When I was watching it live, I really couldn't see it. I thought it went off of Dielna's head and out to past the goal line for a corner kick. I was wrong. He put his arm up over his head, and that was a clear handball. It was, yeah, he was defending his face because, you know, I don't know, maybe he thinks he has a pretty face or something, and he was trying to protect his face from getting hit with the ball. But he puts it out. Goal kick. You're thinking, oh no, corner, right? So, no, it's a penalty. Darwin Quintero steps up, buries it, 1-0 Minnesota United at home. They're starting to feel it. They're getting the energy. They start to put some pressure on Portland. And then Portland comes back right before halftime. Brian Fernandez. Who else, right? Brian Fernandez. The guy has been scoring goals left and right for Portland since he came over from Liga MX. It's been nonstop. If Portland scores, there's somehow, some way, Brian Fernandez is involved if he's not scoring the goal himself. And he gets it, ties the game up right before halftime, in stoppage time of the first half. We've got a game, ladies and gentlemen. This one 1-1 heading into the second half. I was really excited to watch this one. Threw some tweets out there, and I was not disappointed. What a second half, back and forth action. Minnesota had a chance. Portland had a chance. It was going back and forth, really exciting soccer. And then Mason Toye gets on the end of a long ball. Did really well with this one. turns his hips, strikes it into the goal. All of a sudden, Minnesota is up 2-1 at home at Allianz Field. You're thinking, man, this is it. I think they might have done it. And they did. Diego Valeri gets into the game late, did not start for Portland. Might have been a mistake on Gio Savarese's side for not doing that one, not starting Valeri on the road against a team that is really hot right now. And Portland just couldn't quite find the equalizer. Minnesota gets it done at home. They're singing Wonderwall. Everybody's happy in Minnesota. Great atmosphere. And they send the team off to Atlanta to take on Atlanta United FC in the U.S. Open Cup final. That one's going to be a fun one, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you set the DVR. Make sure you're watching that one because it is going to be fun. You've got two teams, and maybe they won't be as hot a month from now when they do meet up in the final, but these are two teams that are on fire. You've got Minnesota, who has just gone on a tear lately. They're winning everything at Allianz Field. They're getting road results. You've got Atlanta United. They're winning at Orlando. They are smashing LA Galaxy, which we talked about last week. No Zlatan Ibrahimovic makes a difference for the Galaxy side. But this is a team that's extremely hot, doing extremely well. They're finally getting into De Boer's system. And even though the players are still calling out public shots and it's not quite settled what's, 100%, at least they're close and they're hot, they're winning, they're getting results, they're getting points. It's going to set up a great final. Now, that's it for my recap on this Wednesday night. Probably going to publish tonight, maybe early tomorrow. Thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. We are trying to grow this YouTube channel. We're trying to grow our podcast. Please tell your friends, your enemies, anybody about our pod, about our YouTube channel. Share that Twitter post that you saw. Share that Facebook post that you saw from Sons of a Pitch, MLS, an American soccer podcast. We appreciate it. We will talk to you guys soon. We're thinking about running some different promos here through the video side of things. Maybe some picks and predictions. Maybe talking a little bit about some transfers. What do you want to see? Do you want to hear more about the MLS recap on our pod when Nick and I are together? Do you want to hear more about that through the video podcast here with just me or just Nick when we can't get together because, kids and life and wives. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for listening. Appreciate it. Hit us up at SOP Soccer. We picked up a few new followers tonight. We will talk to you all soon. Thanks for joining us. Hit that subscribe button down there. Give us a like. Share us. Do whatever you got to do. We appreciate it. Talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.